What is up, GBA type people? I am Randy, and welcome back to another GBA coach interview. Me and two other guests will be doing interviews throughout the next couple of days, so you guys can get to know a lot of the new organizations that are going to be participating in the 10th anniversary season of the GBA. Today, I'm joined by the Chicago Dragapults, coached by QtheCostaRican and his assistant coach, Shayquaza. Guys, welcome to the GBA. How are we doing today?
Yo, doing pretty good, man.
Howdy. Yep, also doing pretty good. Yeah.
Awesome. It's glad to talk to some new faces. There's actually a bunch of new teams coming back for this season, and it's exciting to see some new faces from, especially going back to the most recent season, Generation 7. So always great to have those new faces. So jumping on in, guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves, your organization, and kind of what you guys do on your channels. Just a elevator pitch, if you will, on what you guys do.
Yo, what's good, everybody? How y'all doing? Had kids? I'm QtheCostaRican, and we do some Wi-Fi battles on the channel every once in a while. Some 3v3s as well, and very few and far between. We do some streams as well, but mostly all centered around competitive Pokemon.
And personally, for me, I'd like to think of myself as less of a Pokemon player and more of a full-time guy who's silly on the internet. You know, the Pokemon's just kind of there as a little bonus, you know.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Okay. So I'm curious because you guys definitely have a laid-back sort of approach to the game, from what I can tell after watching a couple of you guys' videos, doing some research, coming in. And I'm curious, Q, because you are the head coach, and I'm curious, whenever you were invited and you were introduced to this assistant coach system, this is something that GBA is one of the first sort of main leagues to do. I'm sure some other like under the radar type leagues have tried to do a system similar to this, but with this right, good catch. Well, with this system, we have an official, like, on paper, someone who can help with builds as well as play games when needed. So my question to you all is, what was the process like, deciding, like did you know right away that Shay was going to be your assistant coach, or were you considering other coaches? Do you feel really comfortable with each other as builders and preppers to have a good chance against the rest of the field?
Yeah, it was pretty much, it was either going to be Shay or one other person, but I was like, Shay, he's beaten me most of the time when we played each other. We both play a pretty offensively minded, game, so I was like, it just makes sense to bring someone who has pretty similar ideas, as well as, like, in terms of drafting, building, and battling in case, like, I do have to, for some reason, not be able to battle that week. Then it seems like it'd be pretty similar. They'd be playing a pretty similar coach. And
I'm just glad to hear I was your number one. That's so cute.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of different ways organizations can approach this. Because, for example, let's say, I'm not saying you guys will, but let's say you're starting out, pretty cold. You're 0-3, you're 0-4. You're trying to stay relevant in the standings, and if you need that spark, that sort of plug and play auto W, if you will, I feel like having the assistant coach come in and just bring a different sort of feel for the game would be a nice way to get the ball rolling. Because there's a saying that it's easier to keep winning than to start winning. So I feel like having that in this league will be something to keep an eye out, especially for those who are kind of streaking in and out of dubs and losses. So I'm interested to see how you guys will approach it, as well as some other coaches will approach it. So that's cool. Similar play styles, always fun. It'll make things with draft easier depending on what you guys end up drafting, and hopefully there'll be not a lot of clashing of heads whenever it comes to, like, doing your builds for the week. So yeah, Q, you're one of the new coaches. A lot of new coaches this season, both head coach and assistant coach. So I'm curious, you and Shay, I'm curious to know you guys' draft league history. I did a little bit of background on you guys. From what I understand, Shay, you've been playing a little bit longer on YouTube, and Q, I believe you weren't uploading anything before Generation 8, I think. So
that is very true.
I want to know you guys' history a little bit about draft, and how'd you get into it? Were you playing other formats before? Were you aware of the GBA before doing YouTube? Just sort of, give me a little bit of history.
Well, yeah, like you said, I started, like, right as Gen 8 came out. I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try competitive Pokemon. It can't be that hard. And joined a few Showdown leagues, and then got invited to a Wi-Fi league, and then since then pretty much have just been in Wi-Fi leagues. There's been like one or two random, like, fun Showdown leagues that I've been a part of, but yeah, just been in there in the Wi-Fi scene since the beginning of Gen 8. as far as GBA goes, I think my only exposure to the GBA was like Shady's battles. That's kind of really the only ones I watched back in the day. Didn't even know it was 10-year anniversary, like you said in the beginning. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, but yeah, Shay and I have been in like a lot of leagues together. Like pretty much every league he's been in, I've been in, except for like maybe one or two. And we always fight each other, and he always beats me in the semis, and it's a terrible time.
Oh gosh! Please tell me he actually. Right. Please tell me he actually finishes the job and wins the whole thing, right? Like,
oh, yeah, I think the times he has beaten me in semis, he has won on and won the league.
Okay, I think specifically the 2 or 3 times I've beaten you in semis, that has been the only chips I have. So that's
you're welcome. You're welcome.
So it's the Costa Rican boost. You know, I just need that little bit of extra. But yeah, I've been playing since Gen 6. Hot minute now. Seems like way too long to be still like a grown man playing Pokemon on the internet.
Right,
seems like a little bit much. But yeah, GBA was the first, this is the first league I ever saw. I saw Magnitude and Battler X, and I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I gotta get in on this. Loved watching Mega Mogwai, Shady Penguin, A-Drive, Pokemon, all the boys, Yeah. And then I made a league with my friends, like IRL friends, and then through that discovered, more leagues via Discord and stuff like that. And it's just kind of snowballed ever since, and I just haven't been able to put it down, I think it's the most fun way to play Pokemon. I just can't stop.
That is true.
Yeah, I agree. I used to agree with you, but now I've kind of switched. But yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. I'm curious, real quick though. When did you guys first like meet and draft league, like the Pokemon community?
UPA Season 1.
Yes, sir.
I was commenting on. Shout out to JB Westside. I was commenting on all his battle videos, hoping. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just like try and involve myself into this community and see what happens. And then yeah, a couple weeks later, I got invited to his draft league, and just been having a good time ever since. I'm glad I attempted to network by just commenting and all that good stuff.
It works, And then you got into UPA, and then you joined some of our hangout servers, and then
True.
we kind of just all got along really well, and just always have like a silly, goofy time, and it's just Pokemon on top of that. It's just fun.
I think it was awesome. After the first time I battled you was when you invited me to the first hangout server.
Well, like, y'all after you and Jay beat the heck out of me, then y'all invited me to his server. So I was like, we can reverse it, so you can come here too.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. It's very wholesome. I'm curious though, because I mentioned about Draft League not being the favorite way to play. I'm a VGC main now.
Okay. Dude.
Hey.
Whoa.
hey. It's fun. Don't knock it right. And Q, I noticed you were doing a lot of live streams with 3v3, sort of at the launch of Generation 9. So you definitely have tried to venture out and to do these other sorts of formats, because I feel like it's really tough to do Draft League alone and by itself on YouTube.
Oh, for sure.
So do you think that playing these other formats would bring an advantage when it comes to like prepping and building week to week?
I've got asked the same question somewhere else. I can't remember where it was, but I don't like 3v3s is like weird because it is kind of Draft League-esque in that you pretty much know what meta mons are going to be showing up, so you do kind of have some form of calculated EV spreads as well as unique movesets that you may not see in like a 6v6 showdown type of meta, but you will see a lot in like 3v3s. Like for instance, like Dragonite runs Encore on like 50% of its builds, and it's like, why is it running Encore? Why shouldn't it just be clicking buttons? But it does because it helps like against all the setup mons that are out there. You just Encore into them, and then you Dragon Dance and win the game instead. But as far as an advantage, I don't really think so. Like maybe I won't be too surprised at like some random like ability shield tech or something, like create something like some random new item that just got introduced this generation. But yeah, I wouldn't say like an advantage per se, but definitely helped keep the creativity going as far as like just spamming 6v6s and 3v3s is like a whole different thing type of vibe.
Gotcha. Okay, I hear that. So let's go ahead and look at the GBA roster. I don't know if you guys know the roster particularly well, but is there anybody, it could be a head coach or assistant coach, and Shay, this is a question to you as well, is there anybody in particular that if you could put them on your schedule week 1, if you can play them next week, you can play them tomorrow, who do you want to play?
Give me JayVee 1182 every day of the
week. Oh my gosh, yeah. That's great.
And then if we're talking, like if I had to fight another assistant coach, Kelly's assistant coach, Miggs, Galeite 74.
Oh, yeah.
That's my boy. I gotta give me him, dude. You know what? If you're taking Jay, I'm taking Miggs. Set him up, boys.
Easy, let's go. You know, honestly, if I fight Kelly and they want to agree to that, I'm hella down.
I'm down, dude. AC off.
AC off.
You know, I am hoping that, I'm not sure that they're going to run it, but I do hope there's at least like a couple of weeks where all the assistant coaches are like soft forced to play, you know, that week. That'd be kind of cool. Or, you know, but other than that, I think having, if they both agree to it, that'd be very nice to see. So, hey, I'll be in the front row watching that one if you guys get that set up. So, well, hopefully they don't cheat us and have it off the schedule. But if they do, then we'll cause some trouble. So yeah, let's move to sort of the last section of this interview. So I mentioned at the start of the call, 10th anniversary season of the GBA, sure. 10 years of Draft League. I know that Q, you haven't played for 10 years, you haven't had that, but my question to you all is, what is your all-time favorite Draft League moment? It doesn't even have to be like your own moment. It could be someone's video you watched. It could be a replay you watched. It could be some bickering that happened in a Discord call and someone was drunk or something. Like, what was your all-time favorite draft moment? Both of you can answer this.
Oh man, that's tough. I'd have to say one of the times where we were all in call watching the homie Jay win a finals. I think that was pretty lit. I was at work watching it too, and I still just like hearing everybody's reaction, seeing the chat moving super fast. It was just super fire. Jay, he's a great coach and a great friend, and he really deserved to win. I don't know what I'm trying to say here but basically it was just a fun time in that battle.
That's wholesome.
For me, I'd probably have to look, not to gas up my boy Q here too much, but there was one game that Q had back in the APA last generation.
Oh, I know what this is.
That was quite possibly the funniest thing I've ever seen, and he. Forgive me if I'm remembering this wrong. It's just clouded by sheer happiness at this point. But you 6-0'd with a Guzzlord, if I'm not mistaken.
I think a little bit of information you forgot to mention was off lead.
Off lead, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Led with a Guzzlord.
Granted, it was a low tier. It was a low tier league, but
it was
still
low tier version of the APA. But
still counts.
Count it.
That was a playoff match too. No, it wasn't. It was regular season. Never mind.
And watching that in call with the boys live, and then watching it on YouTube again and seeing everybody's reaction was just so sad. It was just the best, man. That's the kind of quality content you can expect from Q the freaking Costa Rican. I tell you.
I don't know if we'll be getting Guzzlord 6-0 lead every game, but we do have it under our belt, and it's been in the resume. It's been in the resume.
I gotta ask though. I don't know. Do you remember who that was against?
And yeah, it was 6-foot hacks. AKA Leo.
Oh, it was Leo? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was Leo.
That's awesome, bro. Leo and I have like a little bit of a rivalry, so I'm glad to hear that. I'm happy to hear that.
He got his revenge against me in a different draft league.
Hey, you don't have to mention that. It's okay. He didn't get revenge. It's all right. But
no, you're right. It's still salt in the wound. He's been upset about it, I assume. I don't know. It was a good time though. It was crazy.
It was wacky to say the least.
It should not have happened, but it did, and that's what was like. Wow. Okay. This is the power of Guzzlord when people don't prep for it.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan of Guzzlord. I'm actually a big fan of Guzzlord.
He's a good guy.
Oh yeah. Hopefully we'll see him back in this generation one day. I doubt it, but I mean, maybe. Who knows? Crazier things have happened.
We can hope.
But by golly, we can dream.
Okay. Okay. So we have actually a little bit of time for one more question. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave the floor to you guys. There's a lot of fans that are probably undecided in the GBA server, and those who are Draft League fans in general. So I'm gonna give you guys the floor to pitch on why some of those who are undecided should support the Chicago Dragapults this season.
Well, first of all, because it's so easy to pronounce.
That is true.
Hey.
I don't know why. I don't know. I guess if you like to see some potentially great plays, as well as some very decent commentary from what I've been told, you might want to just come over to youtube.com/QtheCostaRican and support the Chicago Dragapults. Other than that, I mean, the logo's fire. Black and yellow is also really good color coordination. Like, I don't know. I don't really have a good sales pitch here. I'm just if you want to support, go ahead. If you don't, that's fine. It's whatever.
Actually, I think I got this. It's not fine if you don't support, actually. Q's being all coy and bashful right now. You're going to want to support, because I can guarantee you no other coach and assistant coach too, if we're being for real, is going to be as silly and entertaining as Q and myself. Honestly, everybody has their thing. Some people are very good battlers. Some people make excellent reads. Some people prep real nice. And some people are just real silly and fun to watch. And honestly, for content creation, isn't that all you need?
It's very true. I definitely could not have said it better myself.
And also, I think I don't know how people are going to be doing it themselves. I know some people have more assistant coach involvement. Some people have, I think there's 3 coaches for some people. I'm not sure 100% what's going on.
There's like a GM for one guy, I think,
yeah, there's a GM kind of situation. It's very weird. But I know Q's the main guy here. You know, it's kind of like an Undertaker and pallbearer situation. Like Q's out there on the main stage, he's choke slamming MFers. I'm just kind of chilling in the back. I'll just guard the motorcycle while he does the work. You know, I'm just there in a suit being silly.
Oh, I that's if you would have asked me how you would have described that, I would have been able to guess. So that is crazy. That's awesome. You know, I want to go ahead and take the time to say that after sitting through this interview, I will personally be rooting for you guys. The Chicago Dragapults. I said it in one try.
We got one, Shay. We got
Don't
one.
Don't roast me.
Nailed it.
So yeah, honestly, I relate to the sort of laid back and having fun, you know, playing with these, you know, crazy builds and not necessarily picking the most optimal teams or the sweatiest teams. There's nothing wrong with being sweaty. I think everyone's giving their best, right? But
sure.
I definitely relate to trying to bring the fun stuff and making content out of it, right? If you were just there to play a draft, you would just be playing Showdown and not uploading.
Exactly.
So I can relate to that. So that is all the time we have today. GBA fans, make sure you guys ask some questions for the coaches in the comment section. Subscribe to the GBA channel. Stay tuned for other interviews that are coming up. Some of your other favorite coaches are going to be interviewed over the next couple of days. And we will see you guys for opening weekend. Take care, guys.